It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. This week, we're going the solo route. We have in studio with us Thomas Haverly. Thomas?
How y'all doing out there today?
Whereabouts are you from originally, Thomas?
Originally, I'm from West Texas, but I lived in East Texas around the Houston area for the last 15 years. Moved out here to try and do something with my music.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Close to Nashville.
I was going to say, what made you pick Cookeville?
It was either Austin or Tennessee, but I worked for Chili's, and the opportunity was out here to transfer out here.
So you picked Cookeville, nice little town, nice little area.
Centrally located between,
Have you had a chance to get out and see some of the local venues as far as
No, I really haven't. We've kind of looked. There doesn't seem to be a lot of venues that are featuring bands right now. So our goal was to kind of get centrally located, be close to Nashville, Chattanooga, and some of the other places where we could. So my goal is to get a band together down here and then be able to travel to the other cities.
For now, you're working on solo stuff. You've got a lot of material that you've written. And
absolutely.
How long have you been making music?
Started when I was in high school and then kind of quit for years and years, and I just got back into it in the last about 5 years.
Okay. So, and starting into it with the songwriting or just the performing?
Just the songwriting originally. I finally found a buddy of mine. He used to work for me who had a degree in sound engineering. He also played guitar and bass and keyboards, and he had all the software to do all the recording. And I don't know how to play any instruments. I don't know notes, but I would go down there and pitch my songs to him and then, just kind of sound it out basically. And he would put the music to it, and then I'd go in and record the vocals. And I did that for like 23, 24 songs. Finally decided I'd put a band together. It was called Looking for Lazarus down in Southeast Texas. We came up with some pretty good stuff, and I used him to do the recording as well. But then after that, my drummer got really sick and eventually passed. So, my aspirations and my desires of what I wanted to do were not the same as what the band wanted to do. They kind of were settled and wanted to stay in that area and just play local venues. I kind of wanted a bigger stage.
So you're pursuing that whole music dream.
Absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be the performance end if I could even market my songs to other artists. Just, I don't want to be just a bar band.
So you started out that way. Now you're trying to get into another direction. The songs that you have written, you said you've been writing for quite a while now. You've got, how many together would you say?
I've got over 30 recorded.
Why don't we start off tonight by taking a listen to one of those tracks?
Sure. That
you brought with you here. Tell me about Stop, Drop, and Roll.
It's just kind of a song I made up. I think we were clowning around one day on a break with the band, and we were talking about somebody catching on fire or something, and we were joking, oh, stop, drop, and roll. And I was like, that would be kind of a neat song to put together as far as talking about a girlfriend that was so hot that she had to stop, drop, and roll. And so I just kind of made stuff up from there, and the climb up on that took us, in my mind, I had that climb up going in there. It took a little while for me to translate that to the band, but once they got it, it came out to be a pretty good song.
All right, well, let's give it a listen then. Stop, Drop, and Roll. It's Thomas Haverly on the 9 o'clock news local edition, Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. In studio this week, speaking with Thomas Haverly. And Thomas, man with the vision as far as getting some music together, getting started out. Singer, really.
Absolutely.
Vocalist. So in writing your songs, you craft mostly the lyrics and things. Do you hear melodies for what goes with those, or
Absolutely.
How do you work that out?
Actually, all the songs, with the exception of about 3 or 4, I wrote everything, the words, the melodies. The challenge is to translate that from what's going on in my head to the musicians to get them to play it. And it usually doesn't always turn out exactly what's in my head, but, then sometimes it comes out even better. But yeah, I don't just write like roses are red, violets are blue. I definitely have a melody in my mind when I'm writing the words, and that's how I get the rhyme schemes together.
Now, do you have a partner that helps you with the other part, or has it just always been you?
It's always been me as far as the writing goes. Now, I've reached out, like I said earlier, to my buddy Will Young, who did a lot of the recording for me. And then on one of the tracks, I had another guy that did it too.
Now, you've been out, of course, and performed live, I'm guessing, a few times.
Yes, absolutely.
So how does that translate, the songs that you've put together? Do you think of that in mind when you're putting them together? Or?
Sometimes I do. A lot of times I'm picturing a video in my head of how, when I'm writing, I kind of have this, because writing songs to me is telling a story, and you have to evoke some kind of emotion. And what I learned over time is, because I used to write so personally that nobody would get it. So I've learned to kind of pretend now and just kind of make up stories And, people are going to interpret that in different ways, but as long as it moves them in some way or form or fashion, then I think I'm doing my job.
Having been out on the stage, I'm curious, how many shows have you actually had a chance to do?
Oh, probably in around 50 or 60, somewhere around there.
So have you had a chance to do that here yet?
No.
No, you've not had a chance. I was curious as to what the difference between the crowds that you've experienced out in Texas versus here were.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, we got a real good response out of the crowds in Texas. But like I said, a lot of it was just small little bars. We did a couple of big shows, but...
What's the biggest show you did?
Oh, probably 300 or 400 people. It was at a place called The Gig in Beaumont, Texas. We also did a lot of charity stuff, and then small venues where you're getting $100 a man, and there's maybe 20, 30 people in the whole place. So,
what's the most outlandish thing that ever happened while you guys were on stage?
Our amp blew up. That was pretty interesting. I mean, sparks and smoke and the whole thing coming out of there. I had to put the brakes on real quick,
At that moment, do you dive into the crowd or do you just...
Oh, no, I'm too old to be diving into crowds. I might get hurt.
Grab a beer and dash it down and move on.
Yeah. That's where I just go sit in the corner, drink a beer, and wait till the guys that know what they're doing fix it.
Hope that you have a MacGyver along with you to
absolutely.
Get it back up and going. You've gone now to where you're just kind of starting over, basically.
Absolutely,
when it comes
yes.
to putting together a band, you're still in the process of trying to find some people to go together with your music. So why don't we talk about the direction of your music, the sound that you're looking for, and we'll do that as we continue on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It is the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. This week we have in studio with us Thomas Haverly, transplant. That's okay. I'm a transplant too. Of course, I'm what they call a damn Yankee around these parts because I'm actually from the north. You are from farther south, so don't fall into any of that category. I don't know what they call it whenever they import somebody from further south.
I don't know either.
Well, I think you call it at home. How long have you actually been around here?
About 3 months now. Yeah, we just came in here, and of course we've been just super busy getting our house ready, and with my new job, getting that kind of situated. So
are you finding that you have time for the music, or everything else?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm starting to reach out, and I'm on Reverb Nation and Band Mix, so I'm starting to reach out and try to locate some musicians. Word of mouth, just talking to people that I work with and stuff. Hey, if you know anybody. So,
well, a lot of what you've got is already recorded material that you did with other artists that you worked with previously, but it's material that you've put together. Things
absolutely,
that
I have all the rights to all my material.
Stuff that you've done the writing and things for, and as you said, you're online for that stuff, so they can check that out on there and kind of get a taste for it. Where would you classify your sound?
My influences are everything from the Rolling Stones to Fuel, some of the more modern stuff. And when I write, it just depends on the melody, but I try not to sound too old school, but I do like those roots. So I try to kind of keep that as a foundation and then just bring a little more modern sound to it.
Do you have the challenge of, I want to go for this sound like this band, but don't cross that line? Is that line a challenge?
Sometimes. I mean, I have even used a song that I hear to write to, using that melody to write my lyrics to. But then by the time I'm done and it goes into production and it comes out totally different. I just use that as a kind of a scale to get the rhyme scheme.
Have you had any that you've gone and went, that's too close? When the finished product comes about, you're like, no, that's going to be a problem. Somebody's coming after me for that. No.
And usually, most of the time, if you listen to the songs, I think they're pretty unique, pretty original, and different. But, they have a good, solid beat to them, a good, solid riffs.
I believe we said earlier you've got about 30 songs?
At least, yeah, 30.
That you put together over time?
Yeah, there's ones I've forgotten about.
So is it like finding a new song when you stumble across it? You're like,
sometimes, as a matter of fact, I have 2 CDs that I hand out, and I just found an old song that I'd forgotten about. I was like, man, that's really pretty good. Why did I put that on the back burner? So I added it onto my second CD. All
right. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we take a listen to another one of your tracks? Tell me about Faith or Fact.
Faith or Fact is just kind of my observations and personal feelings about the way people get along, religions, and a little bit of racism and things like that. And, the whole thing is, we're all here and we just need to get along. And, everybody has their different beliefs. They interpret things differently, and it's everywhere. And then to me, it just seems like we're all human beings. We're all on this planet. We just need to work together for the same goals, for the same outcome.
Well, why don't we give it a listen? It's Faith or Fact. It's Thomas Haverly on tonight's edition of the Local Edition here on Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. In with us tonight, we've got Thomas Haverly. He is telling us about the music that he's been making. How long did you say you've been doing music?
Pretty much since I was in high school. Took a little hiatus there, so I've been back into it for the last 5 years, hot and heavy.
Now, you are mainly just a vocalist, but you take your ideas for your songs and find a way to translate those.
Absolutely.
I am curious how that works, not playing an instrument. How do you...
Oh, well, it kind of goes like this. Hey, whatever it is, whatever's in my mind. And then, we just sit down there, usually on acoustic guitar or something, and whoever the musician is I'm working with just tries to work it out till I go, yeah, that's it.
And eventually you get it direction to where you...
Absolutely. I kind of orchestrate it from the back, I guess.
Now, when it comes into the software side of it, mixing it down and putting it together, I think you said you have an engineer that you worked with.
Well, I did. Of course, he's back in Southeast Texas right now, so it's kind of hard for us to do anything living this far apart. But
having done it for a few years, the progression from just being able to sit down with somebody and plunk it out on a guitar, as it were, versus finally being able to reach the point where the software can help you get into the studio and kind of put things together. Has that been a major help for you, or?
No, not really. I mean, because it all starts with the actual instruments. The software, for me, just kind of polishes everything up. And, of course, we do use that to add drum tracks and other instruments that we might want to put in there, like some keyboards or something like that. But for me, that's really just the polishing piece of it. The heart of the song is me and whoever I'm sitting down with, and that's the writing. That's the heart of the song.
Now, do you keep a book of ideas as far as hey?
Oh, absolutely. I keep on my phone, on my computer, on a tablet. I mean, I've got lyrics all over the house. I've got ideas saved in my phone. I've got recordings on my phone where I'll be going to bed at night and I'll hear something in my head, grab the phone and sing something real quick in there, and I do use that. I'll go back, I'll start writing a song, I'll get stuck, and I just go back through all my notes and stuff, and I can find lines, or sometimes it changes the whole course of the song sometimes.
So it's not so much that you just sit down and you say, all right, I've got a song from start to finish. It may take a good long time for a song to come together.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes it just comes, and it's like bam, 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 I knock it out. But most of the time, I get ideas, and I'll write a few verses, or I'll write a chorus, and then I'll come back and write the verses around it, or vice versa. I'll write the verses and come back and write a chorus around that. But it usually takes a little bit of time.
Well, you've got about 30 songs together now. You're looking to get things up and running here and get another band together at some point.
So if anybody out there is interested, give me a holler.
Well, I've been known to play kazoo. I'm just,
And we might be able to fit a little kazoo in there. You never know. That might be an interesting sound.
All right. So you can look for Thomas Haverly. He does have his stuff up online, and at some point you hope to get new music together, too. So
absolutely.
You can share that.
Still got lots of ideas.
Looking forward to catching up with you down the road and seeing how things are going.
I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for coming in. This is the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7.